Today we're doing a special test that's been very, very requested of you guys. It's a special test in accordance with lenses. So what you guys really wanted to know from comments and emails and all that stuff, and you know, I even had to set up a spam filter just to ignore these for a little bit. We are rubbing these lenses against the beard just to see how durable they are. You wanted us to do more than just like running them under the water. I've missed doing things like that where I would just like actually be a little bit silly. I used to do them on our Instagram TV, but then Instagram TV died. Anyway, so this video is actually answering something that you guys were curious about. Many of you in our reviews were saying that Panasonic cameras were able to hold their own with Canon and Sony in terms of autofocus, but we were never finding that to be the case. So today we're doing a special video just for you guys. We're putting the Panasonic S1 up against the Canon EOS R and the Sony A7R Mark III. The reason why we're choosing the Mark III is because we found the autofocus to be better than it is with the A7R Mark IV. Sometimes when testing, our reviewers will sometimes even want to throw the camera across the room because in low light it's not really that great. So we're going to choose the older version, and we're even going to give Sony a little bit of a disadvantage because we've known for years now that they're actually the best when it comes to autofocus in the mirrorless world. That happened when the A9 launched. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the Panasonic S1 with the Panasonic 24-70 up against the Sony A7R Mark III and the Sigma 24-70 2.8. Then we're going to take the Canon EOS R with the 50mm f1.2 L, the native one, the RF version, and we're going to take the Leica 50mm f1.4 and we're going to put that on the Panasonic S1. And we're going to compare and contrast how the autofocus works. So you'll be able to see that and we'll get a better idea. Just to also let you guys know, these cameras have been updated with the latest firmware update as of late April. So that's what we are getting into. So why don't we just start? The Sony A7R Mark III, purposely because we think it's faster than the Sony A7R Mark IV, is being given an extra disadvantage here. We're using the Sigma 24-70mm f2.8 DGDN, purposely designed for mirrorless at f2.8 on the Sony system. Now, Sigma's autofocus algorithms are slower than Tamron's and Sony's G Masters from what we've been testing before. So we're purposely giving this a little bit of a disadvantage. Our hypothesis is actually that like this is the fastest of the systems out there, and we're shooting at 50mm purposely because that's very critical to the test. So let's see if this system can keep me in focus. Also, I realized that I still had my glasses on. So let me continue to do this just a bit. Let me walk in there. And I'm going to walk back in. And we'll see. Is it able to keep me in focus? A good thing to also remember is the fact that you have to basically just tell the camera and the lens to look at the entire scene, look for a face, and then try to keep that face in focus. So, yeah. Alright, up next we have the Panasonic 24-70 Lumix Pro f2.8 lens. And this is on the Panasonic S1 with firmware 1.5. Now, I'm moving back and forth, and the camera and the lens are set to continuous autofocus and face detection with animal detection off to track my face and to keep me in focus throughout the scene. The lens is set to 50mm because that's a pretty critical part of this test, as everything is more or less being shot in 50mm, and we're comparing two 50mm primes. So let's see if this is able to get me in focus as I've been moving back and forth. Now this is the Canon 50mm RF 1.2 L USM attached to the Canon EOS R with the latest firmware update. Now, this is me continuously moving closer to ensure that it can keep me in focus, and also moving back. Now, what I'm also finding very odd, at least probably my copy, is that the Leica lens that I've been using on Panasonic and the Canon are more similar with what they render to be 50 millimeters than what the zoom lenses are rendering to be 50 millimeters. So that is a little weird. We're gonna have to see what's going on though. And this is Canon. AI servo, face detection on, and eye detection on, continuous autofocus, just in case you guys don't know what AI servo is. So let's see how it does. Alright, this is the Panasonic S1 with the Leica 50mm f1.4 attached. The video is being recorded in continuous autofocus, face detection is on, animal detection is off, and this is at f2.8. And as I'm moving back and forth, we are seeing whether or not the camera and the lens together can keep me in focus. So let's see what happens. Also, I should mention that this has firmware 1.5 as of late April 2020. Yep. Let's see. Just for funsies, and just because I am very angry after learning and reading that the Canon EOS R is cropped in 4K video mode. I've never really needed to shoot video with it. I usually just use Sony or Fujifilm. Anyway, I'm shooting this video on the Fujifilm X-H1 with the good old 35mm f1.4, one of my favorite lenses. And I'm shooting at f2.8. Continuous autofocus, face detection is on. Actually, no, I'm at f2 because the crop factor will give me basically f2.5. So, giving this a slight disadvantage over the full frame cameras. And, let's see if it can actually keep me in focus. So that's been our test. What do you guys think? We want to know what you think. We want you to leave comments. We want you to subscribe to us on YouTube and visit us over at the Phoblographer. But overall, we really just want to know what you think about this test. It's informal. I was thinking about it over the past week or so and decided, you know, I have all this gear, I might as well test it. So let us know what you think, and let us know where some of these companies can improve. We'd love to hear from you. Have a good one.